Morning, everyone. Just going to give it a few minutes while a few people join. Can everyone hear me? Great, everyone can hear. Perfect. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. Looks like we've still got a few people joining us. Okay, so morning, everyone. There's still a few people joining, but we're going to make a pretty prompt start because we have got a lot to go through today. The way it's going to work is we're going to have about 5 to 10 minute presentations from each of our panel of experts. And please feel free to use the chat function for any questions, and hopefully we'll have time at the end. If we don't have time at the end, we'll take note of all of the questions and we'll answer them after the meeting. The meeting will be recorded and then we can share it out after the event. So first up, we are going to hear from Mobility Ways. That's Max and Elizabeth. I don't know if you want to start getting your presentation ready and we'll make a swift start. Oh, Max can't share his screen. Give me 2 seconds, everyone. Okay, choose present. Next. Oh, Max. There you go, Max. Is that worked for you? There we go. Perfect.
Oh, I believe so. Morning, everyone. Thanks for having us. Yeah, Lizzie and I are from Mobility Ways. We are based in Norwich, Norfolk, and we are a tech-enabled climate software that looks at measuring, reporting and reducing commuter emissions, part of the whole Scope 3 package. So I'm going to run through this at breakneck speed, so apologies to everyone here. So can everyone still see my screen, by the way?
That's gone off, Max. There we go.
Lovely. So we follow a framework of measure, reduce, report. Everything you can see on the screen, we do through software and people. So we're not going to cover everything today because we simply don't have time. So I'm just going to rattle through some of the key areas that we've been working with Cobalt on in the last 12 months or so. Anyone that's interested in further information, please do reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to go through it in more detail. But the first one that we look at is of all the framework, the most important piece is the commuter emissions calculation. This is a number that we calculate from travel surveys, and it gives you a really accurate understanding of actually where your benchmark in the UK per person, your average commuter emissions. If you grow as an organisation, it's not punishing you for that growth. It's simply looking at a per person calculation of actually what your commute actually looks like in the CO2e calculation. We've done this with Cobalt, and in 2021, Cobalt Park's ACEL score was 639. Now, if we use that compared to the UK average of 598, they're just a little over. And the ACEL you can see on the computer screen, is the Cobalt Park's actual ACEL. So you can see it ranked in a graph statistic, so you can get an idea of actually how close they are. And we've recently done a new ACEL for their 2022, so last year, and it came out to 523. So it's really good that we've been seeing that improvement year on year with Cobalt. And of course, the end goal here is to reach net zero. They are on course to do that. One of the other measures we have is scoping. Scoping simply takes a load of anonymized postcodes, put it on a map, and it looks at the viability of different methods of travel and transport. So that is active travel, biking and cycling, walking. It is lift sharing a car on your way to work, and also public transport as well. So we look at them, analyze them, look at the viability in relation to Cobalt Park's location. Lizzie, my colleague, will come on to demo the actual map that we've done for Cobalt after I run through these. And the other one is personal travel plans, a bespoke travel plan made for the individual based on the information they put in. It then looks at most sustainable options first. It is an education piece informing someone of the best possible decision they can get to work. And we then have lift share. So a very quick history of us. We were lift share for 24 years. We are now Mobility Ways, that's born out of the pandemic. So this is our hero product, as it were. We know this in and out like the back of our hands. And we have got a very healthy lift share community at Cobalt Park. People that are part of the community have saved over £640,000 and nearly around 2.5 million miles from the local road network, which is huge. There are also benefits to the accessibility to Cobalt Park as well. And of course, the sustainable piece. Nearly over 500 tons of CO2e, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague Lizzie, who's going to be running the scoping demo for us. Lizzie, if you wouldn't mind.
Stand up, editor as a presenter.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, let me just share my screen and I can take you through your Mobility Ways dashboard. Essentially, we're going to go through a scoping demo. And from the Cobalt Park side, from the admin side, we've got here the Mobility Ways dashboard. And in this, we've been able to run a series of scoping reports. The one I'm going to show you today is an aggregated report of all occupiers on site. This data is anonymous from our side, so we don't know who the occupiers are. Hence, we've got Occupy 12, 16, etc. So it's good from your side, Amy and Lynn both know who they are, so they can feed it back to you. And you should already have received, if not, you can send one after this, a copy of your report. But for this example, I'm going to show you the all occupiers. Now, we ran this for 8:30 start time because essentially any results between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. tend to bring back the same results in terms of public transport. So what we did was try to find all of the options for active travel, public transport, and also for lift sharing. And the total addresses that we were able to run this report for were 6,400. 16 were invalid. And essentially all this means is that they're normally people who are on new housing estates or on private land that haven't been registered with land registry. So this report will show you data for 6,400 addresses. If I go into the view map, and then I'll take you through, I'll just run you through each mode. So if I zoom in a little bit, there is a key in the bottom left corner for your reference, but essentially if I zoom in here, you can see there's a green polygon and an orange polygon. Now, none of them are perfectly circular because they are as infrastructure allows, but essentially they are within a 30-minute parameter. So for walking, that's 1.5 miles, and for cycling, that's 6 miles. So it gives a realistic expectation of what the possibilities are for employees. And you can actually click on any of these dots and it will tell you their average distance. And anyone in green, you can see that they've got walking and cycling options. So it just gives you an overview perspective of what their possibilities are. It doesn't take into account demographics, so health reasons and anything like that might prevent them. It just shows them that from a door-to-door basis, based on the postcodes provided, this is a potential option for them. Now, to focus on public transport, we've got 2 tabs here, and I'll take you through both of them. I'll start by going through the general public transport, and you can see we've got the driving factors. So I like to stick with the ×2 factor because it gives the realistic expectation of behaviour change implementation. Because essentially, if we're sticking to the ×2 factor, if you drive and it takes 10 minutes, you would be expected to travel no more than double the amount of journey time, so 20 minutes by public transport. So it's a realistic expectation that someone might transition to that mode. Whereas when you start getting into the ×3 and ×4, you're asking people to add a significant amount of time onto their day, and it then becomes less feasible. So we'll stick to the ×2 factor. And I'll show you on the map, you can see there's lots of green, but also lots of orange. Essentially, anyone in green has a viable option within the ×2 driving factor. So you can click on anyone here, for example, and it will show you their driving duration and compare it with the public transport duration. On average, this person has a potential 4 suppliers. The best serving bus in this area is Go North East, and I'll show you a little bit more about the suppliers in a moment. But essentially, you can click on any of these dots and see what their viable options are. And you'll notice that in some areas, you've got clusters of both green and orange, and that will essentially be the viability of that particular route. So we don't know, obviously, that bus providers and train providers are in set locations, and it might just be that one person, it might take them 5 minutes extra to walk to the bus stop. And given our calculations, based on the routes provided at that time of day, in this case 8:30, it would then make them late for work. So it's not necessarily the most viable option. It's outside of that ×2 driving factor. But you can see the potential here. And as I zoom out, it's quite clear to identify clusters in areas that perhaps they could be brought within that ×2 driving factor if the provision was there. And that's really kind of the focus of this webinar, to highlight where those clusters are and perhaps talk about the provision of these locations. And then I just want to touch on the service providers as well. So we can see, and again, I'll stick to that ×2 driving factor. You can see by the key in the bottom left corner as well, you can see which providers are the most viable for the locations. So you can click on any of them as well and see what the options are. But again, it's useful to see this key. And it's also possible to actually filter. If I just scroll down, it's actually possible to filter through providers and see which ones. So if I hide all and then select Go North East, for example, you can then see all of them which are highlighted in blue are supplied by Go North East. So it just gives you that overall perspective. And you can do this for the ×2, ×3, ×4 factor to see what the viability options are. So if I just go to ×4, you can see there are much more options, but perhaps they're less used by employees travelling to site because they are significantly longer. So perhaps, again, it's just about having that conversation about how do we bring that travel time down and condense it. And then I just wanted to touch on the lift share options as well, just to show you. So there's a lot of green on here, and it is because of the condensity of employees travelling to site. So most of these people, as I said, this is an aggregated of all employees on site. So they won't necessarily know that they have 100 people living around them that are travelling to the same location. So it's essentially just around that education piece and saying, look, we know from this data that you're all living really close together. And this person, for example, if I click on them, have a potential 231 matches. When we say a viable match, what we mean is that anyone living between a 1 mile walking radius. So it's making it a realistic change for the morning routine to be able to pick people up en route. So that just gives you sort of a brief overview of the different types of maps. But if you have any questions on that, please obviously let us know. We've also got a report which is useful. I'll just show you the headline statistics, and Amy and Lynn can share this with you after if you request it. But this is just the headline statistics across the all occupiers report. So 98% have a viable lift share match. That's at least one viable match within walking distance of their home. 48% have a viable public transport option at 8:30 in and around that time, and that's within that ×2 driving factor that I discussed. Cycling, 54% have a viable option. That doesn't necessarily take into consideration the demographics, but it does show the potential for the current infrastructure. 7% have a viable walking route, and 49% have a viable park and ride option available to them. I hope that's been helpful for you.
Thank you, Lizzie. That was great. We have got a few questions, which I think would be quite good to answer now, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got a couple. So does it take into effect those who have to transfer from one form of transport to the other? And is the Metro included in the list of transport provisions?
So in terms of our scoping, it takes into consideration Metro if it's a viable option for that person. And in terms of having to transfer, it is a door-to-door calculation, but it will take into consideration that transfer time. So if someone has to walk 10 minutes to the bus stop, it will take that into consideration, because if the timings would make them late for work, it wouldn't consider that as a viable option, if that makes sense.
Yep. Perfect. And was there any other questions from anybody else? I can't quite see in the chat. I think we're good to go on to our next presenter, which is Bike for Health. You want to go next? I should have added you guys to the list so you can start presenting your screen. Is it Dan or Dave from Bike for Health we've got?
Cool.
Oh, Dave, I don't know what's happened to you.
I'm here now. Can you hear me?
Have you got
At the last minute.
Presentation?
No, we didn't. We thought we're just going to talk. So if that's okay.
Great.
Can you still hear it? Right. Cool.
Off you go.
Off I go. Yes. No. Thank you to you guys before there. That was, I mean, interesting, especially the little infograph when you can see how long it takes for people to come in. So I think, yeah, there's two things. So it's brilliant having that type of information and just letting people know what we do. So Bike for Health, who we are, we're all about cultural change. Majority of our work is done in schools in the local area, where we differ from your likes of Bikeability or your British Cycling, your bigger organisations. We actually take the children out and show them sort of their locality. And a lot of that work includes riding from the school to the business parks. So we'll have groups of between 8 to even a maximum of 60 children that we've ridden on bike paths to the business parks. So what we're trying to introduce at an early stage is that sort of whole idea of a cultural change where, yes, it's acceptable and it's easy and you can do it by bike. What do we do in the business parks? So we facilitate sort of the cycling end of a thing, so that I suppose the sort of the hands-on part of it. We all know the barriers. You know, where do I ride? What kind of bike do I use? Do I have to wear lycra? Do I have to wear a helmet? Can I ride in a path? Can I ride in the road? So fundamentally, we are there to sort of break those barriers and almost hold people by the hand and show them the route in. One of many initiatives we have, obviously we can offer the Cycle to Work scheme. Along with that scheme, if somebody buys a bike from us, we will ride in to work with them to show them that sort of safe and easy journey. Another project that we're starting within the business parks is the ambassadors. So again, it's that sort of line of communication. We'll have a ambassador in the workplace within Cobalt, and they're sort of the go-between between new people, the business, and then us. So as we sort of grow that ambassador circle, we can sort of give them more information about safe routes, like I was saying, about different style bikes to use, and also just enthusing people, isn't it? Because we all know once you've started doing it, whether it be cycling or walking to work, you do feel a lot better for it. But it's just that initial sort of hurdle, isn't it, of thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this type of thing. But I think especially with us now coming into springtime, yes, it's a bit cold out there today, but you know, if there's somebody there to ride in with you, it just gives you that sort of little bit impetus to maybe start doing it yourself. So yes, we are sort of, I would say, probably the hand-on part of the cycling projects. So we have 10 people work full-time within the organisation, and then we'll have sort of 20 freelance guides that work sort of at various schools throughout the area. So yes, we'll have a vast knowledge of ways to ride to the business park or ways to ride to the workplaces, you know. So on top of that, we do trips and experiences. So again, anything and everything to try and encourage people to think of a bike. So we could do like an experience day, whether that be a day up at somewhere like Kielder Water, or some of the experience days we've had, or weekends, or taking people across to Holland and showing them that sort of real culture of where everybody rides a bike and they're not necessarily dressed in lycra or wearing a helmet, you know, but they are riding a bike to work, to leisure or whatever. Yes, obviously once you get to Holland, it's a different level because of the infrastructure. But I do think, you know, the infrastructure is coming in this country. It's a little bit slow, but there are other ways and means, and you know, we are facilitated by an amazing number of wagon ways throughout North Tyneside, especially, you know. So I think for me, there isn't an excuse for people, you know. We just need to be encouraging more people to do it. Also at Cobalt, we provide a doctor bike service once a month. So if people have a bike that's been in the garage or the shed, they can bring it in and we will give it a free MOT. If it needs any other work, we can bring it to our workshop and sort of obviously charge for that, but get them back on the road. The other brilliant initiative at Cobalt is they have a pool of bikes that are readily available for people to loan for up to a month free of charge. Again, this is another brilliant sort of go-to scheme where it's like, you know, yes, it's a lot of money to buy a bike, but we can try it first and see how you get on with it. Funny enough, we were at a large company in Newcastle the other day, a company called Home Group, who have recently moved into a new building in the centre of Newcastle, and it was, to be honest, it was like, wow, it was a bit of state of the art. So they have underground bike parking for 100 bikes. They also have 200 lockers, and they also have, I think there was about 20 showers there. So everything was in place. They have 200 staff there, and I think about 3 people ride in. So, you know, there's a bit of a project going on there to try and, like I say, encourage people to walk, cycle, or wheel, as people are now calling it, to work type thing. So there are organisations leading the way. You know, we're here to help, whether it be with the cycling, whether it be with the storage of bikes, or advice on what to wear, anything that we can do to help people ride, we're here to facilitate that. So that's it in a bit of a nutshell, I think. Yeah, like I mentioned, we can do the ambassador scheme. We have experience days. So anything we can do to help, just give us a shout, and we're there.
That was great, Dave. You do have just a couple of questions which I think we can quickly go over, see if there's doing them at the end. So we've got one that says, do you engage in people in the first and last mile and connect if the journey's too long? And do you work with North Tyneside Council on the works that they're doing with the wagonways?
Yes and yes. So yes, we can have schemes like Bike Buddy or a bike bus where we could ride that sort of mile to work with people. So we could facilitate that. Do we work with North Tyneside Council? I would say yes. We're sort of almost the default people to come to for cycling. So I wouldn't say we influence them, but we do have that ear, and we do feed back to them what works and what's not working, or maybe you should think about this, or that route needs tidying up. So yes, we do work with North Tyneside Council.
Fantastic. And we've also got a question from Elizabeth, which I think I could probably answer, to be honest. So it says, how are these cycling benefits advertised across the site? So we do with more Cobalt. We work a lot with Bike for Health. We do newsletters, so make sure everyone has their more card and they're signed up to newsletters. Make sure you follow us on social media. It's always advertised across there. We've got posters around the park. We've got banners. So we do quite a lot of advertising around the park. So make sure you just keep your eyes open and check on the Cobalt Park website because everything's on there.
Yeah, and I think, well, you know what it's like, Amy. I mean, it is that thing about comms, isn't it, and getting it out there. And it's almost, I think this is where, for me, the ambassador scheme is going to be
Exactly.
a brilliant sort of leader type of thing. So anybody out there, please just get in touch. Let's get some more ambassadors within the workplace, and they can be sort of the go-to people there, So
because us as more Cobalt, we can push it out as much as we can, but to have those ambassadors inside your buildings with your staff members, it's just going to have much more of a really good impact, and we'll get the word spread a lot further.
Brilliant. Good.
Fantastic. That was fantastic. Shall we go on to our next presenter, which is Stagecoach, and we've got Daniel Smith. Are you able to share your screen?
Yes, just me. I haven't got a presentation at all, so
No
I'm
worries,
just talking here today. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first presentation. It was right, really informative. It's good that know that there's an outside company chatting about the public transport in the area as well. So I'm Dan Smith. I'm from Stagecoach North East. I'm a commercial officer there, and I'm just talking to you today what Stagecoach can offer the staff and businesses at Cobalt Business Park. Just firstly, we've got, you might have seen news updates about like funding falling off a cliff edge and things like that. The good news is that has been extended until the end of July now. So there'll not be any sort of, if you decide to get the bus to work, it's not going to be not there next month or anything like that. And also the £2 fare as well, which has been extended for the next couple of months as well, which will be obviously cheaper if you're just making the odd journey to work. So anyways, as far as Stagecoach are involved, we've got one main route, which is the Service 22, which is up every 10 minutes, Monday to Saturday daytimes. That runs from the West End, Throckley, Newburn and Leamington, through the city centre past Central Station and into Howden, Wallsend and Baker, up through the Silver Link to the Cobalt. You've probably seen them around. It's obviously a popular route and a frequent one as well. But we also have the 22X, which is a commuter service. They'll get you there for the 8 o'clock starts, 8:30 and 9 o'clock starts, and then coming back at 4 o'clock finish, 4:30 and 5 o'clock. And that's basically what we offer as a bus route. As far as the products are concerned, obviously we've got your regular customers. If you're working full time in the office, you've got the Mega Rider, which is in a week format, 4-week or annual. And obviously you can get that either on the bus, on the app or online. We also do a Mega Rider Extra as well, which is a monthly direct debit, which obviously will help sometimes. And you just pay that monthly direct debit for 4 weeks, but you obviously get a month's worth of travel. So in fact, it's a bit cheaper than 4 weeks at the moment as well. With students, obviously, I know some people do part-time at university and college before doing part-time work at Cobalt. Got the uni rider there as well, which we can do. And that you can pay for that per term or annually. And then for occasional customers, because I know obviously hybrid working these days is very popular. We've got with Flexi 5 and Flexi 10 tickets, which they are available on the Stagecoach app only. Basically, the Flexi 5 has 5 day riders, but you pay for the price of 4. And you just go on your app and you activate it on the days that you're traveling into work. And also the Flexi 10, which is actually 10 day riders for the price of 7. And obviously, once it's on your phone, you just download the app so you can track the bus on your app as well, and then activate the tickets on the days you're in there. And for the corporate side of things, for the businesses, if they were interested in doing a corporate scheme for their staff, it's basically a 10% saving on an annual mega rider. You just buy it per person, business comes through Stagecoach, and we sort it all out from our side, and then businesses will just take it on a salary sacrifice scheme. That's basically what Stagecoach have out with the Cobalt.
Fantastic. Let me just see if we've got any questions. I think we're good. And if there are any questions, everyone, I do encourage you to continue using the chat, and we can come back to these at the end. So we will go to our next speaker, which is Joel from Go Northeast. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And can you see my presentation there?
We can.
Yeah.
Brilliant. My name's Joel. I'm one of 2 network planners at Go Northeast. Along with Stagecoach and Arriva, we're one of 3 big bus operators in the Northeast, and with the Metro, we offer most public transport around the Northeast and the Cobalt. So today I'm just going to give you an overview of, excuse me, of buses that we run to Cobalt and some of the fares and the tickets that we offer to, and then I'll take some questions at the end as well. So we, just to caveat this, there are some slight network changes happening at the end of, in 2 weeks, at the end of this month. So I'm going to talk about the network as it will look in a couple of weeks' time for anybody who's viewing this presentation in the future. So as of the 26th of March, we'll operate 2 services to Cobalt. So we will operate the 307 service, which is a slight change from the current 310 service, which serves Cobalt South. That runs from Newcastle along the Coast Road through Battle Hill, serves Cobalt South, and then goes on to North Shields. That runs up to every 20 minutes during the daytime, Mondays to Saturdays, and every half an hour on a Sunday. And then we also operate we will operate the 309 service, which is more or less going to be the same as now, except for a slight route change around High Farm. And that runs from Newcastle, again, along the Coast Road, right through the heart of the Cobalt Business Park, and then it runs on towards Whitley Bay and Blythe. And again, that's up to every 20 minutes throughout the day, Monday to Saturday, and every half an hour on a Sunday. So between the 307 and the 309, there's a bus from Newcastle along the Coast Road as far as Cobalt South, up to every 10 minutes throughout the day, which I think, along with the services that Stagecoach offer, that Daniel mentioned, and services that Arriva offer, there is a really good bus service from the local area to Cobalt. I've just put this one on here, the 19 as well. Now, we won't operate this service from the end of March. There's been a contract change, but I thought it's worth adding on because it's a useful connection to the Metro for people who are travelling from further afield. So that operates every half an hour from North Shields through Percy Main, through the heart of the Cobalt Business Park, and then to Northumberland Park Metro as well. Like I say, that would be a different operator from the end of this month. I just want to mention too, a bit like Stagecoach's 22X, we offer a peak time express service which runs from Newcastle Haymarket bus station through Cradlewell and then non-stop along the Coast Road to Middle Engine Lane, Cobalt South, and then through to Cobalt North. And along with Stagecoach's 22X, this provides some key arrivals for key kind of 9 to 5 office shifts. So there's arrivals for an 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock start, and then departures for people finishing at 4, 5 and 6 o'clock. So these journeys are fast. They take about 20 minutes from Haymarket through to Cobalt. And like I say, direct along the Coast Road. And then for people travelling at other times, we still have the 309, which runs up to every 20 minutes throughout the day as well. On a slight tangent, I just want to mention for people who do already use our buses, from the end of this month, there's also going to be some improvements along the Coast Road through a partnership with Arriva and Transport North East. What's going to happen is Arriva's buses that run along the Coast Road and Go North East's buses will be coordinated in terms of timetable. So rather than us operating on a slightly different headway to Arriva, buses will be coordinated to run up to every 5 minutes along the Coast Road. And there'll be mutual acceptance of tickets too. So if somebody has an Arriva ticket, they can also use that to travel on a Go North East service 307 or 309 as well, which run along the Coast Road. So this will offer some really good improvements for passengers who live and travel along this corridor between Newcastle, Battle Hill, Cobalt, Whitley Bay. So again, for people who may be travelling from Blythe towards Cobalt, if they're travelling on other days and they just want to travel to Whitley Bay and they've got a Go North East ticket, then they could potentially use that on an Arriva service as well. So it offers more journey opportunities for people. So that's just worth mentioning. I think it's worth just mentioning typical journey times to and from Cobalt for people who are thinking about perhaps getting the bus, but are not quite sure how long it will take them. So from Cobalt into Newcastle city centre, that journey can be done in about 20 minutes on the express bus and then around 30 minutes at other times of the day. It's about 20 minutes through to Whitley Bay, about 45 minutes through to Blythe on the 309, and around 15 to 20 minutes through to North Shields. So for people who actually live close to the bus routes, there are some really competitive journey times. And even for people who live further afield, connections in Newcastle to the Express X39 for people travelling at those kind of key peak times, that can really kind of reduce the overall commuting time. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the tickets that we offer. We offer a range of different tickets depending on where people are travelling from and to. So for people who are travelling on our 307, 309 service and who travel around Newcastle North Tyneside, these offer really good value for tickets. For 7 days, you can travel for £16, or 28 days is £64. Similar to Stagecoach, we offer flexible tickets now in response to changes in the way that people work after COVID and people who work hybrid. So our Flexi 5 ticket is similar to Stagecoach's. It gives you effectively 5-day tickets, and you can use those over a month period. So if you're only in work maybe 2 or 3 days a week, you no longer need to buy individual day tickets or pay for a month ticket if you're not going to get the use out of it. You could spend less and get that flexibility to travel. We also offer tickets within the wider Tyne and Wear zone for people who are travelling from further afield on Go North East buses, and an all zone ticket for people who are perhaps travelling from, say, County Durham, places like that. We also offer some 5 to 25 period tickets. So these are really good for people who are aged up to 25. You don't have to be a student to buy these tickets. So if you're travelling from, say, somewhere in Gateshead on a Go North East bus, rather than buying the Tyne and Wear ticket, you can buy one of the 5 to 25 tickets and save potentially £15 a month if you're buying a month ticket. You need to have ID for these tickets, and you can buy them on the app. But it's worth considering. And I think, like Daniel mentioned, there might be some students who work part-time, so the Flexi 5 ticket is perhaps an option for them. We think that probably the best way to buy tickets is on the app. It's really easy. You can buy tickets on there. You can also track your bus live as well, and it notifies you of any disruptions. We've got a really good app. I get the bus into work most days, and I use that to track my bus, and I find it really, really helpful. You can still buy tickets from the driver on the bus. They will sell you singles, returns, days and week tickets. If you want a month ticket or a Flexi 5, then you need to buy that on the app. And I think, like Daniel mentioned as well, the £2 fare cap is in place. This is a national scheme, and Go North East are part of this as well. It's now been extended to the end of June, and this offers a capped £2 single fare and £4 return during this time. So it's a really good chance for people who maybe just want to give the bus a go one day but don't want to commit to a day, a week or a month ticket. Hop on the bus, it's £2, and see if you get on a Haymarket, £2 through to Cobalt, £2 back again. So I think there's some really good ticketing options. I just want to mention as well, multi-operator and multimodal tickets. Appreciate that not everybody will live on a Go North East bus route, and some people will live near a metro station and might need to use multiple operators and multiple modes, and there are tickets available for this already. So for example, the Smart Zone North Tyneside allows you to travel on Go North East, Stagecoach and Arriva's buses within the North Tyneside local authority boundary. and they're really good value tickets, £64 for a month or £16.50 for a week, and they're on a smart card. There's also Network One tickets too, which allow travel on any bus operator in Tyne and Wear, and also the Metro as well. So for people who are having to make those kind of multimodal journeys, for example, somebody travelling from Heworth in Gateshead who needs to travel on the Metro and then get a bus into Cobalt Park, that person might need a would probably need a two-zone ticket, and that would be £24.70 a week or £86.50 a month. So there are those options there for people who do need to use multi-operator and multimodal. And just wanted to mention towards the end, like Stagecoach, we offer corporate ticketing deals. We don't have a set deal as such. We work with businesses to build up something bespoke usually. We can offer discounted tickets, potentially depending on volume. We can offer different ticket types. We can offer those on the app, or we can do them on smart card as well. And we have a portal where potentially businesses can manage the tickets themselves. We can do it through invoicing. So if businesses want to buy bulk tickets up front, we can do that, and then they can then give them to their employees as and when they want to. What we could also potentially do is trial tickets. So if businesses or organisations at Cobalt Park have people who are not currently using the bus but interested in doing so, we could look at offering some trial tickets at discounted rates, just so people can give the bus a try. I appreciate that not all of them might convert, but it's potentially a good chance for people to see what it's like to get the bus to work. And then just before I finish, one last thing I want to talk about briefly is an initiative that we have called Flexility that we launched a couple of years ago. This is in partnership with Co-Wheels, which is a car club based around Newcastle and Tyne and Wear. And you can buy a smart card to join Flexility. You buy a smart card for £5, and you can use that smart card both to load bus tickets onto, and you can also use it to use the Co-Wheels cars that are around the local area. If you sign up to Flexility, you get the card for £5, and then you also get £30 driving credit, which you can use with Co-Wheels. So this is a really good scheme for people who don't have a car, but occasionally might need a car because the journey that they need to make, they can't do by public transport, but also want that flexibility to be able to have a period ticket for public transport at other times as well. So this is perhaps a good scheme for people who, like I say, don't have a car. That's my presentation. So if anybody's got any questions, happy to take them now, or happy for people to drop me an email, or happy to answer them at the end as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joel. That was great. Just to go over a few things that people haven't been monitoring the chat, that change in operator for the Service 19 will be communicated on our more Cobalt channels. It'll be on our Facebook, Instagrams, and newsletters. There's also a bit of a question about ticketing. So the £2 cap is a great value, but there is a large variety of tickets. And I know in the past it can be very confusing for staff members to find out which ticket's best for them. Is there a way that you can do that on your website that makes it a lot simpler for the end user?
That's a good question. I appreciate perhaps for non-users or occasional users, it can be slightly confusing. All of our ticketing information is available on our website. We don't have anything on our website that would necessarily give people information about other operators' tickets, although we include stuff on there around the multi-operator ticketing. I believe that Nexus on their website have ticketing information available too for other operators as well. But I do take the point, and I'll have a think about potentially how we could demystify some of those ticketing concerns that people have.
Perfect. And Rebecca, have you got your hand up?
Yeah, it was just Jules just actually took the words out of your head. If you go to nexus.org.uk, you can see all operator ticketing systems and stuff like that. So there is information available. The problem is we can't work with operators to get one ticketing system due to the competitions index. So we can't talk with an operator. I mean, there is the Bus Services Improvement Partnership, which should start to see deals like what Arriva and Go North East have got on the coastal buses. So it is a future thing, but it's coming, but it's not there yet.
Okay, fantastic. And just so everyone knows, all the contact details will be shared after the meeting if you ever want to get in touch with any of the people on the panel today. So next up, we have Ariva and Andrew Scott, and thank you, Joel, for your presentation. Andrew, are you able to share your screen? There we go.
Hi, you're right. I don't have a presentation to display. So, hello, I'm Andrew Scott. I'm one of the network managers for Ariva Northeast, and I deal predominantly, with north of the Tyne, so from Berwick down to sort of Newcastle areas. On a service provision from Ariva, we do operate two services that go through the Cobalt itself, which is the service 53 and the 54. The 53 operates from Cramlington through sort of Killingworth, Forest Hall areas, through the Cobalt and down to North Shields. And the 54 operates from Newcastle, Gosforth, Longbenton, Killingworth, sort of Shiremoor, into the business park, then down to Whitley Bay. At the minute, both services operating hourly, and this was due to a sort of a staffing issue that I think everyone's probably seen that every business has been struggling with. But from the 26th of March, we are upgrading the 53 back to every half hour, with the 54 at the minute staying hourly due to sort of staffing issues still continuing at the Newcastle site. We also operate a service 51, which operates from Whitley Bay, sort of Shiremoor, the edge of the business park, stopping at the top, or at Holystone, or West Allotment, which will then go through sort of a high farm in Newcastle as well. With regards to ticketing, we do, obviously, like I think Joel and Dan said, there's the £2 ticket, which is ideal for anyone who's just travelling ad hoc to work and back. Or we do have the Ariva products, which is a sort of a weekly ticket or a monthly ticket. And these can be found on the website, the prices. For the Cobalt, it's within a sort of Tyne and Wear zone. But if you're coming from Cramlington, you would need a 2 zone, which is the Blythe and Tyne and Wear. We also operate a sort of a flexi ticket, similar again to Stagecoach and Go Ahead, which is you buy on WAP. There's a 3-day version which can be used 3 out of 7 days, or a 12-day version which has to be used within 30 days of the first activation on the app. We also have a corporate scheme, which is dealt with by our business-to-business team, and they come into the businesses, say, work out how many people want to travel, and if more people, the higher the percentage of buy-in, the cheaper the discount potentially is for monthly tickets. And this is, like I say, dealt through our business-to-business team with details on our website. And our person, Alex, would come in, discuss, and work out the deals. And she also, obviously, if for people coming from sort of south of the river, we operate a service in Newcastle, which could be then part of the 54, or as Joel says, from the end of March, can be used on the 309 service as part of the new qualifying agreement. Sorry, I hate stuff like this. As someone has mentioned about the amount of tickets that obviously the end user doesn't really understand which one to buy. If you use our Ariva app, you obviously put your start point in the end point, and it'll work out which ticket is best to buy. The different zones, it also brings up the pricing. Sorry, I'm just trying to find something. I do apologise.
Andrew, are you still there?
Yeah, sorry. It's just I've got people have came into the office, so I just turned the camera off quickly.
Oh, okay, no worries.
I'm just dumped in the corner. I've haven't used the best I can get.
No worries. Can I just ask you a quick question about, you do the corporate ticketing, don't you?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, and do you have to, is there a minimum number for that, or is it just on a business to business kind of discretion?
Yeah, I think it's on a business to business discretion. I'll obviously, if anyone has any queries, I can pass them over to Alex, and she'd be the best one to deal with. Alex Taylor, who's like I say, our business to business team.
The reason I ask is that we do have a lot of staff returning to the business park, and they're maybe not sure how to get here, what kind of tickets to use, and we used to have a whole range of offers from our bus operators from Arriva, Go North East Stagecoach, and it was just a basic offer that would have on our website that they could tap into.
Right.
And I just think that might work a little bit better, and you might reach a larger audience, but it would depend on if you had to have a certain number of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not sure if we can do deals with sort of the park in general,
Yeah.
or if it would have to be individual businesses sign up.
Okay.
But I
So
can
maybe
find
that's
out.
yeah, that would be great if we could maybe get something going. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to include within your presentation.
No, I can't think of anything.
All good. I'll just check if there's any questions in the chat. And if not, we can go on to Nexus. And Rebecca, if you want to get yourself ready, I know I've got your presentation. I think we're good on the question front. So I will start sharing your presentation, Rebecca, if that's okay.
Yeah, no bother.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
I look like I'm in my pajamas, but it is just a jumper that's keeping us very
Okay.
warm.
I trust you. I trust you. The screen's frozen.
Oh, mine's the same the day.
Can everyone see that? Let me get that. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
can
it
everyone
does
see my
say-
screen? Yeah, there we go.
It does say HMRC event, but it's actually the same information. I just haven't had a chance to get in the office to change it, so apologies for that. I don't presume you're at HMRC, but you have the same loading of people coming back and forth, so I thought it was probably easier just to go through this. So my name's Rebecca Ditchburn, and I'm the Stakeholder Relations Officer for Nexus for the North Tyneside area. On the call as well as Jamie, my resident bus expert, who's also the Stakeholder Relations Officer for the Newcastle area. So between we will work on the north of the Tyne to make sure that everyone has the information that they need. So after this presentation, if there's no information that you've got that you wanted, just drop a line and we'll answer any queries that are there. So going through to the next page, I thought I'd start off with a map of the metro because it's usually quite difficult for people to place where they are with Cobalt. So if you can see the Northumberland Park parking and bus, Cobalt is the closest station to Northumberland Park.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I was just waiting until you come back. So where you can see different emblems, there is parking there. Parking at Northumberland Park is £1.20 per day. So it is actually quite cheap to park there, and it's there all day for anybody to use. Going on to the next page. So I thought, first of all, I'll start with the pay-as-you-go card. As the operators have rightly said, at the moment there's a £2 and a £4 ticket. So you're £2 for single journeys and £4 for all-day tickets on most transport systems across the whole of the England area. But in the North East, this is set to stay for a little while longer. Ours at the minute is only confirmed as the 31st of March. So what we have is we have Pop Pay-as-you-Go. It's a simple card that you can request, top it up at a ticket machine, top up online, but you can also use it on some bus services as well to pay for your ticketing. On Metro, you can save between, on single journeys, depending on how many zones you're travelling through. On single journeys, you can save between 65 pence and £1.90 on tickets, and for day tickets between 85 pence and £1.70 on a day ticket. So on a day ticket, sorry. So the savings are quite immense, and we're hoping that we will be able to extend this a little bit longer, but I cannot give any information out at the minute. But as usual, I'll send it to Amy and Lynn to send out any information if we do that. Next page is Pop. A lot of people think about Pop as a kid's product, but actually we have a number of different products depending on your age group. So for anybody under the age of, between the ages of 5 and 16, we have an under 16 Pop card, which allows children to travel on all forms of transport. That includes the bus and the ferry in the Tynemere area for £1.20 per day, which is a massive saving for some families. But if you have any children under the age of 11, travelling with you on an adult Metro ticket, you can actually get 3 children under the age of 11 for free on your adult ticket, so you can take them with you out and about. So if you're travelling to school before you travel to Cobalt or to work or on leisure sides of things, it does actually help with the cost of living crisis and keeping people's money in their pockets and not utilising it for children's fares. And then when we get a bit older, we've got Pop Blue, which is our 16 plus to under 19s ticket, which gives savings. But then for workers who are either on apprenticeships or just starting out in the business of work, we offer the Pop 19 to 21 card. This is changing to under 25s, but I haven't got full information on it at the minute, but it does give 30% saving on the pay-as-you-go prices. So for young people, that is a massive saving for them. Next page. A corporate ticket on because obviously I don't know whether you still use it, Amy. I wasn't too sure if you were still part of the scheme.
No, we haven't. Not at the minute.
I think we do still do it with individual businesses, but not sure if it's something that can be put into the more side of things. As an employer that can join up to the corporate scheme, and the more people that join up, the more discounts you get on an annual pass season ticket. So the more HMRCs currently get, I think it's 6% saving because a lot of people dropped out during COVID, but their numbers are going up and they are seeing more and more savings week on week. But unfortunately, due to the way people are working with flexi working, it doesn't always work out. So if businesses wanted to discuss corporate, we could see how much savings compared to pay as you go that they could make in comparison to those. So I just thought I'd put it on there just as a quick nod to say that we do actually offer a corporate scheme as well as other things. Next page, please, Amy.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure how much time I had because I go on, but I just wanted to put some points on that we have across these next 2 pages. So on nexus.org.uk is all the information, as Joel pointed out. We do have information on all the different types of ticketing in the Tyne-Wear area, so if you wanted to have a look. And then on top of that, when you click on the individual bus operators, it takes you through to their websites. But as rightly so, they've also got apps. If you download the apps are really, really great, and we have an app too for Metro. So you can buy or renew Metro season tickets or Network One tickets on a pop card. You can apply and renew concessionary travel for those who are of a pension age or under 16 pop cards. You can buy and top up Pop Pay-as-you-go, Pop Blue and Pop Junior, and you can check which ticket's right for you depending on what way you travel. So you can actually use a little scale system that you put in, whether you're elderly, whether you're young, what age group you are, how often you travel, what kind of ticket, and it'll come up with ideas on how to get the best ticket that's for you. And the last page on there, not a lot of people know, that's all right. Not a lot of people know, but you can use Journey Planner, which is not always reliable, but we also have on top of Journey Planner, you have the interactive live travel map, which means you can put where you are standing, so you see your front door. You can put where your journey is going to, and it can calculate what buses, metros, trains, ferries, etc. Travel through those areas, and that's just an easier option for you. You can find out the timetables for the Metro and buses, as well as Shields Ferry, and you'll also see updates on the buses section on any changes to bus services. So if you use a bus, you can check that quite often to see if there's been any changes to the times or the routes of your bus services from that. You can also get in touch. 202747 is our customer relations team, and they have extensive knowledge about services and any inquiries or suggestions or complaints, and they can also pass suggestions through to our bus services team to say what routes could work if for future reference. If you have an idea, I think that bus could do this. It's not always possible, but if you think a person can change a bus service quite easily, we're quite open to suggestions. And when we do an annual look at all our bus services and secured services, we can check to see what changes can be made to the benefit of the travelling public. And you can also see the latest news and plans for the future. And I was going to hoy Jamie on at this point just to give a quick update on what's happening with the future of Metro and our fleet introduction.
So yeah, just quickly going to also mention that we've just relaunched our Pop app on both Apple and Android phones. The Pop app allows real-time information for the first time on Apple phone users, so you can see where your nearest metro station is and where the nearest train is. It also gives you updates on car parking spaces, so you can look at live links to Northumberland Park as your closest main car park, and it'll tell users exactly how many car park spaces are available at any time of the day. So it's a massive improvement in what we've had currently. Moving on to Metro, we received our first new train of our 46 that are due to arrive over the next year and a half, a couple of weeks ago into Gosforth. These will prove to be a massive game changer in terms of travelling around Tyne and Wear by Metro. Luckily got on to have a little look at it the other day, and it's quite impressive when you're on it. Much more space, really bright, really modern, better features for everyone, a sliding step for anyone with mobility issues or travelling with prams or pushchairs, 4 dedicated wheelchair bays, 4 dedicated multi-use space which can be used to store bikes. There's bike storage and harnesses involved now, so people using that bikes for journeys can also, if they're travelling from further afield, travel to a Metro station, get on with their bike and travel to Northumberland Park and then ride the rest of the way into the Cobalt. Like I said, we've got the first one in Gosforth now. We should get the next 2 over the next couple of weeks. They'll undergo testing, and the first one should be in passenger service by the end of the year. I'm just going to go briefly onto the bus service improvement partnership that's been mentioned a couple of times as well. The real main changer for people in the North East that we'll see straight away is there's going to be a cap in bus fares, Metro fares and ferry fares for people under the age of 22. And it's looking like it'll be a £1 single ticket for those people. There's also been looking to cap multimodal tickets such as the Day Rover and Explorer ticket and bring those prices down to make them more attractive. A lot of the money is going to be used to improve bus lanes and traffic priorities throughout Tyne and Wear to speed up bus journey times. So that'll be a massive improvement using public transport to get to work as well. In smaller changes that'll come ahead, there'll be a much more flexibility allowed on the Pop Page Go app. So this should be allowed to then be operated with Going North East to Riva and Stagecoach to use on all tickets with a flat fare cap, but this will be in time to come, and we'll communicate these things as they come live over the next couple of years, because the funding lasts for 2 years. And anything else, just let me know.
Great, that was fantastic. Thank you, Jamie and Rebecca. Just
Jamie.
on the £2 cap, is that on the Metro as well? Has that been extended?
No,
Oh,
unfortunately, the government pays transports puts the bill for the bus £2
okay.
cap. Our was done by our own budgets, and we aren't in the financial position to continue that by past the 31st of March. But when the fares do change, there'll still be a significant saving by Pop Page Go compared to a normal Metro fare.
Fantastic.
So it could be up to £1.35 saving compared to buying a ticket from the ticket machine still.
Fab. We have a load of the prepaid pop cards that are loaded with £5 worth of credit.
Yeah.
So if any of our staff members want to take advantage of that, we still have a load of them. You can still continue to take advantage of the £2, and then obviously after that you've still got a £5 preloaded on that pop card. And then obviously you can register it and continue to use it and top up as you need to. We've got any other questions?
Amy, I just wanted to add in, I know
Yep.
you couldn't get anybody from the Northumberland side, but obviously from next summer as well, there'll be the Northumberland line. So they're looking at ticketing options for that as well as a joined up approach. So as we know about that, we'll let you know, and that would be for anybody travelling from Ashington or Blythe. It may be an easier journey for those people into Northumberland Park.
Fab. We also have another question just to say, will I be able to use a pop card on the new app?
Jamie's already
Yeah,
answered
I've
that
just
then.
quickly answered in the chat. So if someone has an
sorry.
Android enabled Google, an app with a Google Play Store, you can straight away now. You can use their pop card on part of the Google Wallet. Unfortunately, there's more discussions to come with Apple to get it on the iOS store. It's quite a lengthy process to get anything on the Apple store. And we've been going through that for a couple of years now, so it's still some time away. But it will be on at some point. But it's just until we can get it onto their store.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Rebecca and Jamie. I think we should move on to Enterprise and Storm and Emily, if you're ready to go. Let me know if you can share your screen or not.
Morning, everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Fantastic. Morning, Amy. Thanks for inviting us onto the panel
Morning.
today. Thanks as well, Lynn. Just got a very short presentation just to run through Enterprise Car Club, introduction to our services, and also on the panel today, Emily Morris, who's our business rental sales executive based in the Northeast, who looks after our businesses in the Northeast. So we're just going to spin through the presentation 5 or 6 minutes or so and leave a few bit of a space for questions after. Agenda today, introduction into Enterprise Car Club, in case anybody isn't aware of what car clubs do today and how Enterprise operate our own. Sustainability, it's been a big agenda point for a lot of other attendees on the call today, and it's important for us as well. Enterprise Car Club is very much the pointy end of the spear when it comes to vehicle rental, and we're very proud to make sure that we've got a really clean, modern fleet for people to access. Car Club for Business, so I think the majority of people are going to be signing on today from a company based in Cobalt. So what can we do for you guys? And then Car Club at Cobalt, what does it look like today, and what does the future look like for us? So initially, Enterprise Car Club, what is it? Well, quite simply, it's a technology-enabled vehicle rental offering. We place technology in our rental vehicles, which you can access once you become a member of our services. We provide a link which you can download. You download our app, and then from that point, you can access over 1,500 vehicles across the UK at publicly available sites. The majority of these are in main urban areas, city centres and the like, but we also have partnerships with other mobility providers such as LNER, so we run a partnership up and down the East Coast Main Line, and then again with other business providers as well. So we're very privileged and proud to support Cobalt and be invited onto the park. We've been operating here for just over 4 years, and we're very proud to provide our services to residents of Cobalt. In terms of integration, Enterprise Car Club is a brand in its own right, but it sits within the family of companies that Enterprise Holdings looks after, which includes our daily rental operation, and which people will be well aware of. Enterprise Rent a Car have a depot just adjacent to the park in Shire Moor, and then another 400 or so depots across the UK. And we also have a specialist commercial vehicle offering called Enterprise Flexi Rent. So all told, we operate just close to 130,000 vehicles across the UK. The Car Club is our lowest emissions, most convenient, best option for people on Cobalt, but we do have some other options for you as well. When it comes to providing our services to our customers, the 3 C's that we're always asked for are convenience, cost effectiveness and compliance. So from a convenience perspective, we've got our services available from Cobalt Central today. There's nothing easier in terms of renting a car than accessing the vehicle yourself, not having to wait for a delivery or a collection, finding your own car parking space, or waiting in for a set of keys to be provided. From a Car Club perspective, the keys are in the vehicle. We provide a fuel card, and it's a expense-free option if you join us as a business. From a cost effectiveness perspective, our service is offered by the hour as well as by the day. So if you only need to rent a car for half a day or a couple of hours, then you'll do that. Our rates start from about £6 an hour, depending on the size vehicle that you have, and we cap our hourly rates at 8 hours. So typically a day's rental in Car Club is no more expensive than just renting a car from one of our other depots. And from a compliance perspective, we provide all of the service, maintenance, safety checks and valeting on our vehicles. So if you're an employer on the park and you're asking your employees to travel for business, then you can be confident that our vehicles are going to provide a safe form of travel for them to get to and from where they need to go. We are we'd like to share our sustainability credentials. Our regulator for shared transportation is called Como UK. They do a survey annually, and they obtain a lot of information about how our membership use our services and what behaviour changes they encourage. I've clearly cherry-picked a few of them that are really important for the call today. I think the ones I want to pick out predominantly would be that being a member of a Car Club helps reduce car ownership, which in turn helps adopt other forms of travel. On average, one car club removes 20 vehicles from the roadside, whether that be in a residential area or in a business park. So it's a good way of tackling congestion. Our vehicles typically, when they're privately owned, sit on your drive 97% of the time. So if we can provide you a convenient alternative to that, then you're not only going to save money by getting rid of your second or third car, but it's also going to help you without the lure of the car keys next to the front door, use some of the other forms of travel, some of the other modes that have been on the panel today. The other one I want to pick out is the one on the right hand side here on the slide. You are 3 times more likely to access bus and tram today if you're an active car club member, and we want to position ourselves very much as a companion to the other modes on the call today, whether that be lift share, whether that be bus operators, and we would very much encourage people that if they can use a bus to get to and from the park, then our services enable people to travel to and from sometimes rural or remote locations that are less well served by public transport in a car club vehicle. What do we do for businesses? Well, we offer 3 sorts of service. Our dedicated use vehicles, which is option A on the right hand side, is an alternative to old school pool cars. So it's kind of a smart pool car alternative where we'll provide a vehicle that's accessible only by your own employees. That can often be placed right outside the front door of your office, so it's a really convenient option. But that might not fit for everybody. You might not want the fixed cost of an asset that you're paying for day in, day out. So option B is our virtual fleet, and those are the 1,500 vehicles that I kind of shared the map on earlier across the UK. You can access those vehicles pay as you go and by the hour, so it's a really cost-effective option. And then, of course, if you want to combine the two and have a few pool cars and access our services on an ad hoc basis, then you are welcome to do so. On the slides, which we're happy to share after the panel today, we've listed some of the benefits again that I've run through previously, but reducing corporate travel costs, reducing your carbon footprint, reducing your exposure to risk. These are all great things for companies to do. And then, there are also benefits that you can pass on to your employees. In terms of Cobalt, why have we been invited onto the panel today? Well, we've been partnering with Cobalt for 4 years now, and we're very proud to offer our car club services on Cobalt itself. We have other mobility points across Newcastle and north of Tyne as well, up and down the East Coast main line, so you can travel by train and access our vehicles, elsewhere further afield in the UK. And we very much see ourselves as assisting employees to access better travel choices. So as said, by all means, where you can, commute to Cobalt on one of the public travel modes or using active travel, and then use Car Club for those journeys, those individual journeys where a car might make more sense. We provide obviously mobility access points across the business park, but we're a commercial operator. We're keen to expand, and if you have demand at your offices, then we'll be keen to chat to you about whether we could place vehicles within your car park as well, just to make it even more convenient than coming to Cobalt Central. And in terms of collaboration with other mobility providers, we've worked with lift share and with Mobility Ways in the past. Very much, if you can leave your own car at home and get yourself to Cobalt, then we can provide you that service to get you out and about from here. Frequent users might need a business account. That's where you get an account manager, preferential rates. You also then have privileges such as billing, so that you don't have to pass on travel and expense to your employees, and would very much recommend that for business customers at Cobalt. If you're an ad hoc user, you might just wish to access a retail account where you just pay as you go, take personal responsibility for your membership, and we offer a discounted membership through Cobalt today as well. That's the quickest run through I can do of our services. Amy, I can't see the chat. I don't know if any questions have come up at all.
No, we haven't got any questions at this time. One thing that was mentioned though is maybe getting a copy of everyone's information or presentations, and maybe if we just put it all together in sort of like an information pack for our businesses, I think that will be really useful. So then everyone's kind of got the same information and we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, so to speak. That sounds good. Thank you very much, Storm and Emily. I am going to move on to the last presentation, which is mine, which is going to be very short and sweet. So in this time, if you've got any questions or if you've thought about anything throughout the presentations, please feel free to put them in the chat. And then after my presentation, we'll just see if I've got any questions at the end. I'll just share my screen. Give me 2 seconds. I've started at the end. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Put that up. Okay, I'd like to start by thanking our panel of experts today for their presentations. It was really informative, and I know I got a lot out of it, so I hope you did too. And just to end the panel, like I said before, we're going to go to some questions. I just want to sum up how Cobalt can support our businesses and staff members on the travel and sustainability side of things. It's been a funny few years, and in that time, we've had new staff members come to the park, we've had new businesses come to the park, and maybe they don't know where we are or how we can help and how we can support. So did nobody hear any of that? Oh, well, we'll start from the beginning then, shall we? I would like to start, like I said before, I want to start by thanking everyone for their presentations. It was really, really informative, and I know I got a lot out of it. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can support. It's been a funny few years, and in that time we've got new staff members and new businesses, and I just want to go through how we can support. Like we mentioned before about the communication side of things, Marcard is not only a staff benefits package full of like discounts, we do events, we also do free travel planning, but it's also a great communication tool. Everything you can find is on our Cobalt Park website, our More Cobalt website and our More Cobalt app. We've got all our events on there, all of our offers, our free travel planning, anything. So it's really important that you engage with the Marcard on that level and make sure that you sign up to our newsletters and to receive notifications. Okay, so for those of you who don't know where to find us, we are in the Cobalt Management Suite at Cobalt Central, just at the opposite end of Tesco. We are open from 8 until 4 on weekdays, and we're here to help you with any queries you may have. But in regard to travel, we can provide you with free personalised travel planning. We will work out which commute options are best for you based on your needs, whether it's to find the cheapest option, the quickest way to work, or the most environmentally friendly. And if you didn't want to come into the office, we've also got all of their provisions on the More Cobalt website. You can find everything you need travel-wise on the travel section of the More Cobalt website. We also have a whole host of timetables and bus rates information. We also have our own fleet of pool bikes, which staff can loan out and try cycling before they're committing to buying their own bike. We've also got a whole host of cycling equipment to purchase. So we've got some inner tubes, we've got pumps, all that kind of thing. Again, like I said, all of this information can be found on the More Cobalt website in the travel section. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my presentation today. So our panel of experts have kindly went over most of the stuff that we do here at Cobalt, but I just want to kind of point out some of the things that a lot of people don't know. And one of these things is the Cobalt free zone. So outlined in the pink dotted lines around the metro, around the, was that for me? Yeah, sorry. Outlined in the dotted lines on the map, this is our free zone. So if you were taking the metro, for example, you could get off at Northumberland Park, take the short walk down to Sambuca's at the very top of the park, and then with your More card, get on any bus travelling to the bottom of the park, for example, if you worked in Newcastle Building Society. So you don't have to walk the full length. But bear in mind that if you were travelling outside these boundaries, you would have to pay for your ticket. But it's a really good way to so if you get in the metro, you only need to get a metro ticket because you can walk the rest of the distance, or use your More card to get on the bus for free. So, as Bike for Health have pointed out, we've had a partnership with them for many years. We're always trying to work out for new initiatives to get more people on bikes. And based on our findings, actually 2/3 of our staff members actually live within a 5-mile radius. This is the perfect distance to be cycling into work. With all the amazing infrastructure improvements that have happened over the past few years, it's never been easier to cycle into Cobalt. But just to cover a few points that people may not know, the top picture is of one of our park wardens, Johnny. You may have seen him around the park. He's also a trained bike mechanic. So if you are on your commute into Cobalt and something's gone wrong, you've got a puncture, anything really, you can get in touch with us and he can try and give you a hand, depending on what it is. And then we also partner with Bike for Health. So if it was a more comprehensive issue, we could get you booked in with those guys as well. We also have our very own tool station by the Cobalt Bike Hub. I don't know if you've noticed, it's a big orange container just at Cobalt Central opposite Greg's. They've got all the basic tools that you may need to do simple fixes. We also have a whole host of new bikes, and the rest of our bikes that we still have been fully refurbished. We really want to get as many of our staff members utilising these pill bikes as we can. At the minute, they just kind of sit there, but as the summer months are coming on us, it would be really good to see as many of you can loan out those bikes. You can loan them out on a monthly basis, and all we need is a small deposit, which you get back on return. We also can lend you the equipment you may need, so a helmet, a bike lock, all those kind of things. Again, all of this can be found on the travel section of the website, but you will also see a bike hire part, as you can see on the picture at the bottom. Basically, all you need to do is pick your bike, pick which equipment you need, and then pick when you want to pick it up, and then we'll have it all ready for you and off you go. It's really as simple as that. We are really trying to slimline down how we do things to make it as easy as possible for our end users and for our staff members. There's an email address on the bottom of these slides that you can email if you come into any issues cycling to and from work. And last but not least, we've been doing a lot of meetings recently, and part of that was working out what staff members were after. And health and well-being is an absolutely huge topic that we really want to help staff members with. And one of the ways we're doing this is by devising some new walking routes. People who come to the park don't realise how big it is, how lucky we are to be surrounded by so many green spaces and wildlife areas. So we've devised these brand new walking routes to encourage people to explore during breaks, lunch times, encourage walking meetings. And it's a fantastic way to really prove your health and well-being and your productivity. You may remember last year that we did some work with some QR codes. So we are also looking to encourage more walking with the use of more QR codes around the park. And then we can then incorporate quizzes depending on the time of year, or use them for inductions. The possibilities are truly endless. We've also previously held some virtual walking events called Wednesday Wanderers. It's given staff the chance to follow guided walks in their own time. But this is something we're looking to bring back in person and do a few more guided walks, get people used to the park again, know what it's about. And we're really looking to explore alternative ideas and activities to promote health and well-being. So if anyone has any ideas on how we can incorporate more walking, more health and well-being kind of activities, then please get in touch, because we're really willing to ramp up on this. But these are the new walking routes and they will be out as soon as possible. I'm just looking to get some fancy posters and leaflets made, and they will be handed around the businesses. And I'm very sorry for all my technical difficulties, but that's me kind of done in a nutshell. Hopefully I covered everything that wasn't covered by our panel. And I hope that all kind of made sense. If anyone has any questions, then please let me know. I think we're good. Oh, yeah, so Lynn was just saying there, sorry, just in the office. We do a little bit of work with Wattbike. I don't know if you've heard of them. If you haven't, go on their Facebook page because they do some really fantastic guided bike rides. On the Wednesday, they ride from the Biodiversity Park, just a few seconds away. And they do some other great initiatives. So I think that would be really good to get involved in. All of that will, again, be on the Cobalt Park website. But I don't think we've got any other questions. I don't know if anyone wanted to say anything before we head off, about 5 minutes early. Got a few people typing. Like I said, well, I'll put some sort of pack together for everyone. All of the information will be on there, everyone's contact details, everything like that. Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. This session has been recorded, and that will also be attached to the pack of information for you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Amy.
No worries. Thanks,
now.
everyone. Bye.
Thanks, now. Bye.